This 2011 Troy-Bilt pony features a 17.5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton engine, a 7-speed transmission, and a 42-inch mowing deck. Other features include manual PTO engagement, mid-back seat with soft touch grips, 15-inch front, 20-inch rear tires respectively, steel front axle, 1.5-inch cutting height range, adjustable heat and a steering column. Overall, the Troy-Bilt pony is a reliable and durable lawn tractor that is suitable for small to medium-sized residential lawns. However, it is an older model, which brings us to this project I recently picked up for $75 from a gentleman local to me. It's very common for people to misdiagnose their mower as having a bad engine when it only has a minor issue that can be resolved easily and cheaply. In this case in particular, the story, according to the owner, was that the mower was owned by an individual who they evicted from the property. The individual vacated the property, leaving many of their belongings, one of them being this mower. The owner then used the mower for about a season or two until about a year ago when it began raining poorly and blowing white smoke out of the exhaust. When I heard this, I was definitely relieved because I was sure that at the very most, all it needed was a head gasket or at the very least a carburetor rebuild. As you can see, upon purchase, it was in a dilapidated state due to severe neglect. According to the owner, the engine was bad. However, if you've been a long-time follower of this channel, you are aware that issues like this do not deter me from taking on a project. After getting the mower back to my location, I began my investigation on what it would take to get it back in service, after which I compiled a parts list. As stated previously, this tractor was severely neglected as it had been sitting out in the elements for its entire life and hadn't been run for at least a year, possibly even more. As a result, the issue plaguing this machine the most was corrosion. The deck was in danger of rusting through in some areas. Some of the wiring was corroded and had to be replaced before I could even try starting it. Even the spark plug wire was seized to the spark plug. Needless to say, the mower did not come with a battery. But after installing a new one, it still wouldn't start due to the key switch being broken. And prior to realizing the issue was with the key switch, I thought the starter solenoid was faulty. However, that hypothesis was disproven with testing. In the meantime, while waiting for the key switch to come in the mail, I got the engine running by jumping the solenoid with a wrench. Unfortunately, I ended up melting the starter solenoid due to having it jump for an extended period of time when trying to get it started, so I had to order another one of those as well. After installing the new parts, I could finally crank the engine using the key, and the engine would run but only with starting fluid, which meant that it was time to take the carburetor apart. At first, I only removed the bowl, which was absolutely full of filth and corrosion. I'm sure many of you are familiar with these Nicky carbs since they come standard on so many engines, so I won't go into detail regarding their working principle. What I will point out is that the actuator for the backfire preventer was completely seized from rust and varnish. I got it free and operational by working it back and forth while swishing it around in gasoline. After cleaning out the bowl, I reinstalled it with the old gaskets. Obviously, the carb leaked everywhere. As a matter of fact, it leaked so bad I didn't even attempt to run it and just ordered a rebuild kit. This was the best course of action since the carb also needed a very thorough cleaning. I never even considered ordering a replacement carb since I have heard a multitude of complaints about cheap aftermarket carburetors being of poor quality, causing the engine not to run correctly. Once the rebuild kit arrived, I got to work cleaning the carb and replacing components. Several mistakes were made throughout the process, which resulted in me having to remove, disassemble, reassemble, and reinstall the carb a second time. The most important errors being that the jet provided in the kit was the wrong size, the needle and its bore in the float mount was the wrong size, and I also didn't install the needle correctly in the seat. So I basically ended up using nothing from the rebuild kit except the gaskets. But after getting the assembly back together, it ran beautifully. Even though I spent far more time and money than anticipated, it was exciting to have the tractor finally move under its own power for the first time in years. However, as you can see in the video, we have much more work to do. The tires don't hold air due to being severely dry rotted, so we'll be putting inner tubes in those. Also, as stated previously, the deck appears to be in danger of rusting through in some areas, so it will need to be treated somehow. The last thing we want is to put in all this work to save a couple pennies, only to have to spend a couple $100 on replacing the deck a season or two from now. Lastly, my final goal is to make the neighbors jealous by enhancing the aesthetic. We want to put some of the old shine back in the paint so it looks like $1,000,000. But anyway, that's going to be it for this one. As always, I'm grinding. I hope you all are doing the same. You all stay strong, stay healthy, and stay inspired. I'm out. God bless.